Hello everybody, welcome to this video on good chess strategy. How do you win the game of chess? What are the good moves you need to make, etc, etc. My name is Mark. I am an A-level chess player. My rating goes up and down between 1800 and 1900 levels on a regular basis. In this video we are going to talk about how you win the game when you have a king and a rook and he just has his lone king. If you will remember, this is one of the 3 positions that you must master in the endgame if you want to become a good chess player. It does not do any good to study the opening, get really good at tactics, be a good chess player, take all his pieces. You get to an end game like this and you can't win the game, you can't finish the job because you don't know what you're doing. You put him in check, he moves out of the way, you put him in check, he moves out of the way, you put him in check, he moves out of the way. 50 moves later, you put him in check and the game's a draw because of 50 move draw rule, and that's no fun. We want to win the game when we have a position like this. So how do you do it? How do you win the game if you have a king and a lone rook has a king? So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to set up a position that you need to get right before you deliver the last checkmate. And this final position is mating pattern, and if it's white to move, white comes here, it's checkmate, game over. He can't go there, he can't go there, can't go there, he can't go anywhere on this row because this rook here. And so this would be checkmate. And so there's a few things to notice about this position. Number one, this black king is sitting right here on the edge of the board. He's not floating around right here, he's on the edge of the board. He might be on the edge and looking like this. Maybe the rook's over here and he goes checkmate, or maybe it's going to look like this and then the king goes, or I'm sorry, the rook goes checkmate. Either, it doesn't matter which edge, either way I'm going to set it up how it was. Either way, the king is on the edge of the board. Second thing to notice is that this king is opposite of this king, or in other words, this king is opposing this king. So when the rook comes down and checks him, he can't go there, he can't go there, and he can't go there because this king is opposing the other king and he's guarding all those squares. So that's checkmate, and it's called king opposition. That's a very important idea to learn. It will come in handy in almost all your in-game positions. Third thing to notice is that this rook is doing his job as border patrol duty. So even if the king was way the heck out here, king is still stuck on the edge of the board. He can't go anywhere here because this rook is guarding this entire row. And the fourth thing to notice about this position is it has to be white to move. White to move, checkmate, game over. If it's black to move, we have a problem, because black to move, where does he go? Well, he comes here, and then if white does check, well, he gets away. So that doesn't work. Now, if white tries to move here with this king, gets king opposition, well, same problem, is black to move. And so white to move, black to move, white to move, black to move. If white ever just gets frustrated and says, oh yeah, and goes there, well, gets away. So there's a special little move that you need to know about, and that's called the tempo move. In a game of chess, the word tempo means time, and time in chess is not measured by minutes or hours. It is measured by moves. So when it's black to move, you don't want it to be black to move. You want it to be white to move. So you have to give him some time. You have to make that tempo move. And so when it's black to move, now, you're not going to do that. You need to make tempo move, and that means instead of moving your king, you're going to move your rook like this. And by doing that, now that shifts the ball in his court. Now it is his move, and now it's your move. You can checkmate him. Now, let's say the king goes the other way. Well, now you can follow him with the king, and eventually he's going to run out of space, right? He can survive one more move. Goes here, he can't go out there, right? So he has to go there. It's check and mate, game over. Okay, there's one more thing that you need to know about the tempo move. If black comes this way and you're going to make tempo move, you don't want to go there, because now black will just keep coming down there, and if you go there, black's obviously not going to go there and lose the game, right? Black's going to come here, and if you just keep following like that, falling asleep at the wheel, well, then you just lost your rook, right? And now it's a draw. So whenever you're making a tempo move, you want to make sure that if the king goes down here, you make your tempo move on the other side of the two kings. That way, the king can't come over here and chase the rook off, because if he does, well, then he gets in the way of opposition and it's game over. So that's the other thing you got to know about the tempo moves, that when you make tempo moves, he's over here, you're not going to come over there, you're just going to come here. You want to make sure the rook is on the other side of the other kings. You don't want it to be on the same side as the enemy king. You want this king to be in between king and rook. So that, in a nutshell, is how you checkmate with a king and a lone rook. Now let's set it up in a kind of harder position. We'll put the king in the middle of the board like that. We'll put the rook here, and let's put the king right there. And so now, actually, we'll even put the rook there. Okay, so now what do you do? This looks pretty hard. How the heck are you going to force the king to get over there or up there or something, okay? And there's a little process that you do. First thing you do is you move your rook and you assign him border patrol duty. So you can move him there, and the king's trapped over here, like on this side, or you can move him over here, and now the king can only move over here. Or you can move the rook, like let's say over here, and now the king is trapped over here. Or you can move him over here, and now the king's trapped over here, right? So that's the first thing you got to do, is you assign the rook border patrol duty. And you do that not by putting him in check, but you do that by moving him one row away or one column away. So you move him here, right? Border patrols right there, or you move them here, border patrols right there. And by moving the rook one row away from the king, you're assigning him border patrol. Now the question is, which border patrol is the best border to put on, because you have several choices, right? Well, my suggestion, my recommendation is to pick a border that is in between the two kings. So this would be okay because this rook is in between those two kings, and also this would be okay because now the rook is in between the two kings like this. I would not do this because then it gets all muddled up. The reason why you want to put the rook in between is because eventually you want king opposition to look like that, right? But if you have the king on the other, if you have the rook on the other side like that, then you got to bring the king all the way around like that, and it can get all muddled up, So the easiest thing to do is just to give the rook border patrol duty. Pick a border that's in between the two kings. So this would be okay, and this would be okay. I would not choose this here, and I would not choose this here, because it gets muddled up. And look what happens if the king goes like this. It kind of now it kind of cuts it off, like that. And now the king cuts off the border. You see how muddy it gets, So just take my word, and when you're assigning border patrol duty, make sure that the border is in between the two kings. And if the kings are way far apart, if the kings are way far apart like this, then that's still in between the kings, and try to pick a border that is close as you can. So now this king is confined to these two squares like that. So that's the first job, is assign border patrol duty for the rook. And now after you do that, and we'll use this one right here, the second thing you want to do is you want to get king opposition like this. So it's going to look exactly like it does as it does when you're doing the checkmate. The only difference is it's not checkmate, it's just check. But by doing that, white to move, he goes down one row closer to the checkmate. And so it's the same exact position that you're going to get if it's checkmate. It's just only going to be check because it's not the edge. But you're going to use the same technique to push him back towards the edge as if you're going to checkmate. So first thing you do is you assign a border patrol, and the second thing you do is you want to get it to look like that. So if the king attacks the rook, always move the rook on the other side of the king. Remember that forever, okay? And then king here, and then if the king goes there, then it looks like the king is going to go here or something. And then if the king goes there, you see, even the king can still put up some resistance. So if the rook goes down there, then you go here. And if the king goes here, you can check him finally and push him back. If he comes up here like this, then you can move your king like that, and if he goes here, now you can push him back, and eventually you're going to get that check and mate. Now if it's white to move, right, what are you going to do? You're going to move the king here, right? Because if the king goes here, it's checkmate. If he goes here, then you're going to have to do the border patrol. You're going to have to do your tempo move, right? And if he goes here, I made two moves. If he goes there, you go there, and if he goes there, you may have to do two tempo moves because of the problem of the king attacking the rook. But either way, whether you do one or two tempo moves, eventually you're going to get a look like that, and it's checkmate. So just to go back over that really quickly, we'll move him up like this, and then if king goes there, and then you do a check, and then you go here. If you go here, then the king can get to the rook, right? And eventually you're going to have to make another tempo move. So you might have to make two tempo moves, right? But if he goes if you know, problem is if you go into him and then he goes this way, then you can go here like this, and if he goes here, you got to make a tempo move like that if he comes this way. So whether you have to make 1 or 2 tempo moves, just make sure that when the king opposition is looking like this, it's white to move. And as long as you have that, you're going to win the game, and it's going to be checkmate. So that is the proper technique how to win the game if you have a king or rook and he just has a lone king. So that's how you do it. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next video.